Hello everyone and welcome to Georgia Paper Crafts. Today I am working with a Party Like a Panda Simon Says Stamp August 2019 card kit. I'm going to do a quick run through of what we've got here just so you kind of know what comes in the kit. As always, you get a sheet here that just kind of gives you some inspiration for cards. Then we've got two envelopes, and these are in the colors of dull pink and white. The good thing about this, besides the inspiration, it also tells you exactly what's in the kit. The kit includes, so in case I didn't know the color right offhand, it tells me. So dull pink and white, get one of each. We get some of these Deco Foil flock transfer sheets. One in black ice and one in white latte. Now, flock transfer sheets, I believe they're meant to, I don't know how you're going to transfer them or anything like that, but the examples I've seen is you just die cut from them, and it has this nice texture to it, so it gives gives texture to your die cut, which will be great for using with the Panda the Panda die cut that comes in here. So let's look at that. Let's see. Here is that Panda die cut that you get. This is the picture book Panda, and we'll be using that. Get one sheet of, let's see, what is this considered? Stick It double-sided adhesive sheet, and that's probably good to put on the flocking sheets before you cut them out to make it easy to stick. Then we've got this pretty 6x8 clear stamp set, Party Like a Panda, and it comes with these cute little pandas here that you can stamp and cut out if you want to. I believe there is a die set, die set that you can buy separately that'll cut this out. Usually Simon Says Stamp does wait a little while to release an accompanying die set. However, I did see recently with a recent release that they made the die set that goes with this stamp set available. So you can purchase that separately at Simon Says Stamp, but this stamp set looks pretty cool. All right, and we've got 12 sheets of Simon Says Stamp custom double-sided doodle bug 6x6 papers. I don't know about you guys, but I love doodle bug. I have just about every collection doodle bug makes, and that's a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be making coming up in the future. But from what I understand, these were made specifically for Simon Says Stamp. So, and as you can kind of tell, what I can tell is, because I am a lover of Doodlebug, I can kind of tell some of these are from a bunch of their different collections. It's the similar patterns, so, and colors. This one makes me think of the boy set, and this one's the girl. And they have, oh, that's cute. And then I forgot which ones these are in, but I've seen similar. So a lot of the back ones have solid colors. That one's gorgeous. I believe, I can't remember if this one is in the punny set. So punny, I'm not sure. But adorable, lots of rainbow colors, which I like. And of course, a lot that will be perfect for making birthday cards. And then we have the cardstock that comes in here. We've got one sheet of the 120-pound, I believe this is white cardstock, yep. And then one of the peacock teal, one black, and it says it's supposed to have one dull pink. Here it says dull pink, but guess what? I didn't get dull pink. I got green. That's okay. I can work with that, but I do know that they do say on their website that they will substitute as needed if they run out of, I guess, whatever usually comes in there. They have the right to substitute. So anyway, that's what comes in a kit. So we're going to go ahead now and get started making the cards. I forgot to show that in the kit we also got that glitter pen. Anyway, I'll use it a little bit later. I'm starting off with card number 1, just doing some stamping here. I've got it all going a little bit fast because I think it's not fun just to watch me stamp. So there I stamped it using just some Simon Says Stamp black ink, Intense Black ink, which is Copic friendly. And here I am coloring in all of my images with my Copic markers. There was a brief thing on the screen there with all the colors listed. I'm sure it went by very quickly, so I will make sure I put every color that I use down in the description box below. But essentially I'm just using 2 colors for each, or 2 markers for each color, and I'm just kind of coloring in. I'm using a lot of rainbow colors because I'm going to color the happy balloons in rainbow color, and for the panda guy I just kind of use some cool grays just to help give him a little shading, give him a little bit of depth, as you know, if I left him white it just looked kind of weird. So anyway, he looks a little more grayish black, but I guess they look like that anyway. So anyway, like I said, here I am coloring it in using rainbow colors, doing the same with the presents. And what I didn't show about the stamping is I did do a little masking, and did that on the present that's in the forefront so that I could stamp the present in the back without having a lot of lines. So I did that, and I didn't show a lot of that just because if I showed the technique of everything I'm doing, I'd probably have an extremely long video. This is already pretty long, and I don't think a lot of you like to sit through majority of these, so I just wanted to kind of just show the basics of making the card. I am putting a little grounding down below with some marker just to help give him a little bit of area to stand, and I did darken up his ears and the black parts of the panda's body because I just didn't get a good stamp. Yeah, I was using my Misty, but unfortunately I didn't have it lined up right, and I knew if I tried to stamp it again I'd be off. So I only was able to stamp it, I think, once. And I knew that I'd be able to, you know, go over it with my graphite pen. I did go around all of the colored images with some warm grays, and now I'm just using my white gel pen for some highlighting. Coloring the eyes, a little highlighting on the cake, along with the panda and the presents. The other thing I'm going to do is go ahead and stamp the word birthday. I'm going to use my Misty here to try to help get a good stamp on this, as this is a pretty thick word stamp. Using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink to get it to stamp, and as you can see here I'm struggling. I guess it's maybe because I have that magnet in the way. I don't know what it was, but I tried to move it around and reposition it, and that went better. And now I'm going to put some glossy accents on the happy part of the happy birthday, just to help the balloons stand out and make them look more realistic. Just trying to get out an air bubble with a pen here. Now, before I proceed with the rest of this card making, I do let this dry. So this dries probably overnight, and I come back and finish making the card in the morning. So, I mean, this does take a little while to dry. You couldn't just do this and then proceed as you kind of see me do. So I just want you to know that I did have to let that dry. And you can see that it's dry there because it looks nice and shiny. So I'm just taking some of the pattern paper from the kit, Just putting it together in a design. I decide that I'm going to use some fun foam to back the picture and pop it up. This one has some adhesive on the back already, and tried to put it down, got a little crooked, and guess what? It was sticky, because I was wondering how sticky the, you know, pre-made sticky back was. Well, guess what? It's very sticky, because I started to pull it up and it was ripping, and I was like, yeah, not going to do that. Put some double-sided adhesive on that. Put it on the panel. Go ahead and put some glue on the panel and put that to a pre-made top folding white A2 size card base. Here I'm going to bring in some of my favorite jewels. You see me use these time and time again in different videos. I love these. They're just, I mean, you can use it for anything. These are the unicorn rhinestones, and I believe it's from Pretty Pink Posh. Gosh, I can't remember. I always say that, but I can't remember. I'll definitely look again and see if I can list it below. Alright, so here I'm showing you my attempt on trying to make these pandas out of the panda die that came in. So I'm using the Stick It double-sided adhesive, and I'm putting it on some white just paper, white paper. I'm going to put it on the front and back. And really, I should have put the double-sided adhesive on the flock paper. Why I didn't? I don't know. I'm not quite sure what I was thinking. But here you can see I'm pulling out the die, and I'm measuring here, and I'm going to trace around it, and I'm going to cut out the pattern of the panda. And what I'm going to use this as my backing for putting the panda together once I die cut everything. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this, and I actually cut a couple more off screen. You can see them to the side up there, and then I'm going to start die cutting all of my panda. I'm using some of the black flock and the white flock, and I'm just kind of setting them on the side. And of course, this is easily done here on my desktop using my small die cutting machine, which is great. So initially I thought I would help use the negative part to help me put this together, but what I realized is that the part that I cut out is way too big. So I'm just kind of fitting it in. I know that I can kind of fit it around there and put it together and then cut around it. So this is sticky because remember I had put that sticky adhesive on it, and I'm just putting everything into place here. Because it's already sticky, I just have to inlay it. Really pretty easy to do. Turns out super cute. But as you can see, I did have to cut around a bunch of it, which I did do, just to make sure it was all trimmed up nice. And I did go around all of this with a black marker when I was finished, just to make sure it looked all good. I'm not sure I really needed to do that, but I did do that. Yeah, it turned out pretty well. And I'll make a couple more off screen just to help have my stash for when I'm making the cards. And here I'm inlaying those tiny little eyes. You could probably draw that in with a white gel pen, but I did use the eyes that I cut out. So here I am going to make a shaker card. I love shaker cards, although I'm not very good at making them. So I cut down a piece of the solid paper that came in the pack, and I'm just putting some double-sided adhesive on the back here. I had previously cut out a circle using a circle die. These are stacking circle dies I have from Spellbinders, and it cuts the outer circle like in a scallop, a scallop circle, and then an inner portion would be the regular circle, and that's what I cut this out of. And here I doubled up some foam adhesive, and I'm just going around the outside of the circle, trying to make sure I have a nice tight circle there that can contain all my good shaky stuff. And I'm gonna put some other double-sided adhesive, and these are all doubled too, around the rest of it to put it up. I have my card base, my pre-made card base already sitting to the side, this white one. Just kind of looking to see. And putting a little anti-static powder just on the inside of that, just so things won't stick. And I'm pulling out some, these are just some confetti mixes from my stash, and they are the Unicorn Rhinestone confetti mix, Carousel Light confetti mix. Actually, it's not the Unicorn Rhinestone, sorry, that was what I used previously. It's the Carousel Light, Seize the Days, 4-leaf clover, and opal mix. That's what I was using. I just put a combination in there, and I thought that turned out really well. Put that on top, and now I'm just looking to put this panda down. Now, this panda I previously made. I made a bunch of pandas that I had previously stamped, colored, die cut. As you can see, I have a lot of stuff off to the side. That way it won't take so long when I'm making this video. Cut him down, and I put him kind of sitting right on the inside there. Put a hat on him. I'm going to choose the sentiment that says party time. Now this, probably should have stamped this before I got it all stuck down and everything. I didn't really think about it. But this is where using the Misty really comes in handy. I am using my VersaFine Onyx black ink, and it is stamping just fine. I got lucky there. I'm going to use another sentiment. And I'm also going to put a sentiment on the inside here. It says happy birthday. Of course, party time says let's celebrate, and then happy birthday on the inside. Now here is where I'm putting together the sparkle pen. You got to take that yellow thing off and then squeeze it just a touch to get it going. You can see when I do put it over some areas, it can pick up some of the color, so that's why I was wiping it off to the side. Now I'm going to just scatter some of these other random Carousel Light confetti mixtures and get them adhered down using my glossy accents. Once I'm done with that, that'll be finished for that card. I really like how this turned out. I might have to do more shaker cards. Alright, so moving on to the next one, I'm using some double-sided adhesive. I'm going to adhere this piece of pattern paper to this solid green piece of cardstock, but I guess it's teal, that came in the kit. I'm going to adhere that, and then I'm going to cut it out with my wonky stitch die. I had already pre-cut out a stitched circle also, and I'm bringing in one of those pandas that I made with using the flat paper. I decided that at the crease there, between the two papers, I really wanted to use something to kind of pull it together. So initially I was looking to use some glitter and then glitter tape, and then I was like, nah, this kind of looks like a boy card, so let me kind of keep it without any glitter. And so I used a gold tape. Just put it along the seam there to help pull it together. And here I am going to stamp out using my VersaFine Onyx black ink a saying that says, well, I can't remember what it says. We'll look at it in just a second. Anyway, I stamped it and then heat embossed it using some clear embossing powder. It says pigment ink, so it stays or stays wet a little bit longer. So it gave me a little bit of time to put that embossing powder on there and then heat it up. It says party like a panda because you only get to do so once a year. Is that what it says? Yeah. I'm going to add here circle die, pop up the Panda with some foam tape, put him right in the middle. Pop up the sentiment also, cut that on a bias by the way. Then I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to a pre-made A2 size card base. As you can see, I have that hat up there. I didn't really like how it looked with it, so I chose not to use it. I decided for a little embellishment, I just use a little bit of these gold stickles. That's it for card 2. Card number 3, I have to go back to using my metallic watercolors. You know, I love to use these if you've seen my previous videos. So I'm stamping the happy balloons and birthday on some black cardstock. I'm going to emboss that with some alabaster white embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. You can see here I got it all over. I had to use my paintbrush to try to help get that off. I'm going to get it melted. Then I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss and do the same thing with some other balloons around the card. So I'm going to put, there's different shaped balloons here that come in the stamp set. There's just some regular ones, an oblong one, a star one, a heart one. And I'm just going to stamp them around, and then I'll heat emboss them with the embossing powder like I did the sentiment. It's kind of hard to see it there until I start getting the embossing powder on there. I did use a embossing tool, like a anti-static embossing tool beforehand, but I guess I didn't do a very good job because I did get quite a few areas that I had to kind of wipe off, but it still turned out okay. Once I'm finished with this, I'm going to bring in my watercolors. These are the Fine Tech metallic watercolors that I've used in several other videos, and I'm just going to start coloring using rainbow color. I am not using a lot of water on here. I actually don't put any water onto the cardstock at all, and that is because this is not watercolor cardstock, so you can't put a lot of water onto there. So I pretty much just put water onto the colors themselves and then mix them up with the paintbrush. And that gives such a beautiful metallic color. I really love how it looks. Very easy to do. Like I say, it doesn't use a lot of water, so it doesn't warp your card too bad. Actually, at all. It doesn't warp it at all. And doesn't take long to dry. These actually dry very, very quickly. Once I'm finished with that, I decided I wanted to do a little splatter of all the colors, so I'm kind of just getting some paint onto my paintbrush in various colors and just kind of splattering it onto the page. And this kind of got everywhere. Yeah, it got all over my work surface. I usually try not to do this right on there because I know it will get to be a mess, but decided I'd go ahead and do it. And I really liked how it turned out. And I'm going to bring in one of those pre-made, pre-stamped and pre-colored Panda that I had made. This is the one where I guess he's laying on his front. Put some double-sided adhesive on there. Go ahead and get him adhered right there in the middle. I'm going to adhere that to a white pre-made card base. I was looking here to see if I wanted to add maybe a backing or something, but I thought, you know, this didn't really need any kind of you know, matting or anything, so I just left it as it is. Put some double-sided adhesive on that, and I'm going to put that down. that's it. I did not add anything else because this stands by itself with all that metallic. Okay, now moving on to number 5, I'm using one of my other favorite dies. This is a MFT stitched squared rectangle die, I guess it is, or stitched stackable die. Unfortunately, I know it's not available in the MFT store anymore. I think sometimes you can find it on, you know, eBay or other people selling theirs from previously. It is one of my favorite because it does cut out these variable different size rectangles. So I just took it and cut one in each of the different pattern papers that I thought went well together. And I also cut out a circle from one of the yellow cardstocks from the this is actually pattern paper, one of the yellow, orange pattern paper. Gosh, I can't talk today. Goodness. All right, so I'm adhering all of that down. I'm again using one of the pre-colored pandas. And I stamped the sentiment that says this party is going to be Stupendous. And then I'm going to come in and put the rhinestones around, the unicorn rhinestones around. Adhere them with my Simon Says Stamp Craft Tacky Glue. Forgot to do that one. And that's it. I did have a little bit of difficulty working with this kit because I just felt like I just kept repeating myself. There was just one stamp set and all of it was birthday themed, so it's very difficult for me to make different cards, I felt. I did like that I made 10 birthday cards because definitely need them for my stash, but you know, definitely it challenged me to come up with original ideas. Here I'm kind of doing the same thing that I usually do, putting two pieces of paper together, and I'm just putting some glitter adhesive tape down the side. I'd use 3 different colors, dark pink, a blue, and a green. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the card. Cut off the edges that are hanging off there. I had cut out and colored that happy, but I did not cut out these tiny little strings, so I'm just stamping them right there. Kind of gauge where I wanted it to go. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. I'm going to use this other panda, the lying panda. It's going to be very similar to the metallic card, where he kind of lays like his butt is holding the happy balloons. Just kind of putting some highlights and stuff with my white gel pen there. Darkening up the strings with my graphite black pen. Need to bring in a sentiment here. I'll do that as soon as I get this popped up using some foam tape. I'll bring in the birthday sentiment. Believe it or not, I did not use my Misty to stamp this, but luckily it turned out well. That's the beauty of using the VersaFine Onyx black ink. It really stamps beautifully. So I did have to go over it just a touch with a little bit extra of my graphite pen. Putting some more unicorn rhinestones on here. I love the rainbow colors. And that's it for that card. Okay, so moving on to card number 7. This is Bristol Smooth cardstock that I'm using. I'm using my VersaFine Onyx black ink, just stamping it down And I'm going to heat emboss it with some clear embossing powder here. And I'm going to use my, why can't I remember what these are? These are my, Zig, my Zig Clean, no, my Zig Clear Color Real Brush Markers. Gosh, that's a mouthful. Sorry about that. And I'm just coloring it in. I'm using, putting a little color down, pulling it out with my water pen. I will have all of the colors that I have listed, or that I used, listed below in my description. See, I'm just using a couple colors here and just pulling it out. The water, this is a water brush pen. I don't have any water in it. I don't know if you can see off to the side, I have sprayed a little bit of water on my mat, and I'm just picking it up as I need it, just because I want to have a lot of control over how much water I do use, because I don't want to use a lot. I thought this guy was really cute. Just again using rainbow colors to color everything in. Use a little gray to try to help put a ground under him. It's hard to see in here. I did use a very light gray. I had to put a little blue there. I wasn't really happy with how that turned out, but there's nothing I can do after I did it, so I left it. Okay, and here I'm just going to use a cut out a rectangle, stitch rectangle die. I believe this was from the MFT. I kind of stacked the stackables one on another just to make an open frame here. Of course, it cuts out the inside, and I cut it out of the Bristol Smooth, and that's how I got that white one to make my piece on. I hope I'm making sense. Anyway, this is going to fit perfectly in here. There we go. Bring in my white gel pen. Bring in that sparkle pen. Decided to bring in some Nuvo Crystal drops and a red color. I believe it's red berry. Here I'm going to make another shaker card. I had so much fun making another shaker card, I decided to make another. This time I cut out the frame. Again, a square rectangle frame using my Lawn Fawn Stitch stackable dies. I used, what I did was I cut it out, and the outer portion is the purple portion, and that's going to be the front. I adhered a piece of acetate down. This is some acetate from my stash. I'm not sure why it's going slow here. And I wanted to stamp on it, so I'm bringing in my Stays On ink and stamping Happy Birthday, Party Like a Panda, because birthdays only happen once a year. So I'm stamping it again, and this really kind of stuck a lot, and I knew I wasn't going to get it right in the right place again. I really would have liked to stamp it again, but I just decided not to because I knew that I would probably mess it up. So I thought it looked good enough. Just marking where the inner portion is going to go. And I flipped it over just to give it a little bit of a different design. I had adhered it with some glue. Here I'm doubling up my tape. I put it all on the side there. I didn't think you needed to watch all that. And I'm just bringing in a mix of sequins. This is just from my stash, and I don't even know what sequin mixes they are. I've got so many, I don't even know. And I wasn't sure how much I should put in there. What I think I wound up doing was putting too much, but I did fill it up pretty good. I'm going to adhere that. As you can see, it shakes well. I guess it's, I mean, it's not too bad. I don't know, maybe I probably could have used a little bit less, and I would have been happy with it. I went ahead and adhere this Panda to the front. And that's it for this card. Okay, now card number 9, I decided to take this pattern paper and cut along one of the edges here. Once I did that, I'm going to adhere it, I'm looking to adhere it to this pink paper. I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to the pink paper down to my card base first and cut the excess off. I like this exact paper. It's cute. Bring in a white stitched circle, and this time I'm bringing in the panda that looks like he's crying next to a deflated balloon and a messed up present. And I'm stamping the sentiment that says, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed the party." I'm going to adhere the little panda onto the stitched circle, and then go ahead and adhere the stitched circle down. I'm going to do a little bit more stamping on the inside. It says, "I'm so sorry, happy birthday." Bring in some more unicorn rhinestones. Get them adhered down. And that's it for this card. Alright, now on to the last card. This one was fairly simple. Like I say, I had a hard time just figuring what to do. So I'm just taking a bunch of the pattern paper in different shapes and the sizes and adhering it to the green cardstock that came in the kit for me. I did cut out a stitched rectangle frame there. I'm going to use that and use one of the pandas that I made out of the flock paper. Just picking out some sentiments. It says happy birthday, and I believe it's that same sentiment that says party like a panda, because birthdays only happen once a year. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down and pop up my panda on some pop up the panda with some foam adhesive, adhere the panel to a pre-made card base. And that card is done. Do want to bring in a little, I was going to bring in some more rhinestones, but then decided to use my Nuvo drops. Again, this is the Nuvo Crystal drops in red berry and gold. And that completes that card. I really do appreciate you guys watching me make the 10 cards from the SSS Stamp August 2019 card kit, Party Like a Panda. Again, I think it's a great card kit for a lot of birthday themed cards. I did have trouble just because I felt like there were so many. But having said that, I really did enjoy it, and I hope you enjoyed watching me make them. Feel free to give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more videos from me. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Hope you have a good day.